everybody. My name is Rintintin. You know I'm twice as nice, so you gotta say it twice. This is another episode of the Hip Hop Republic, the Drop Hip Hop Uncensored, where I bring you all the stars and rising stars of the hip hop game. Today, my guest is Capetonian, rapper, producer, MC, songwriter, and performer.
Goddamn.
BlaQ Slim. What's up,
Thank
baby?
you. Yo, that was a really good introduction.
Thank you.
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Coming from you, who's also a presenter, I mean...
yeah.
Thanks for the flowers.
Newly presented, yeah.
How are you? Thank you for pulling through.
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yo, this place is far, bro. This is like the hills. Like,
right?
This is like the hills.
You know, we have to be creative and innovative. So you need to go to the most unexpected places.
Yeah. When I was driving in, I was like, yo, how's she living like this? What kind of money you making? I was like, you gotta put me on, dog. Please. You were at my workplace. You know how.
Whatever I'm moving, I need to move with you.
Let's move together.
No, okay. Please. Let's get right into it. Right. I read in an article about you where they were doing like an intro of you, BlaQ Slim.
Okay.
And you'd like to describe yourself as a middle class rapper because you're too poor for the rich kids and you're too rich. No, you're too poor for the
too white for the black kids, too black for the white kids.
For the black kids.
Yeah. I mean, I think
what's that about?
I think that's like where I was, still am, but like that's where I was maybe 4 years ago, I would say. I just felt like there was this
gap.
Yeah, and like I didn't grow up poor. Like I really didn't, you know, and I didn't want to lie and be like, yo, you know what I mean? I came from nothing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? One mom. No, like I came from a really good family.
You had a good upbringing.
I went to a decent school. Like, yes, my grandma stayed like a kukuletu. And originally I come from a Kailicha, but then I moved like at a young age. I was like 7 years old by the time I moved to, like, so to say, a better location, right? Okay. So I went to a good school also. And I was always in this battle of like, okay, cool, I go to a good school, but then on the weekends, like, Silokshin, I'm in the hood, right? So I gotta like,
you see the now best I'm a coconut. Of both worlds.
Now I'm a coconut when I go to my grandma's house. But then when I go to school, I gotta switch up this accent and then have a. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was always bouncing back. You didn't know
where there wasn't like a middle ground for the both worlds that
exactly. And I feel like there was a lot of people that grew up under those circumstances, right? But felt like they need to choose one side. Like I'm either, like I'm gonna pretend I'm rugged, like I'm gonna pretend I'm up there, right? And I was like, yo, I'm not. I'm like really in between. Yeah, I'm in between. My parents are paying for this good school. I don't have this kind of money. But then also like my parents work all the time. So they drop me off Makuluamu. So I'm chilling also in Lokshini. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of like, I was kind of forced to be like a chameleon. You know what I mean? I've always like got to blend in. And it was something that I didn't embrace till I was like,
older.
Yeah, and I was like, actually, man, maybe this makes me like unique in my own way. You know what I mean? This is a different story. And I think it's a story that people can relate to in terms of just living in a world where you kind of have to fit in till you realize you really don't. Yeah, so that's where that came from. Yeah. Okay. That's where that came from.
So your upbringing and your childhood was in Cape Town, right?
Yeah.
And then you moved to Joburg because of the music.
Yeah.
When did you come to that decision where you're like, okay, you know what? I have come to a point in my career where I've done all I can in Cape Town. Yeah. Now I need to move to Joburg, the city of gold. Like, when did you decide that?
To be honest, I'm still figuring it out. To be honest, because of the digital space that we're in, it feels like sometimes I feel like I moved at the wrong time. Right? I'm like, man, I feel like I could have done like. There's artists that I see in Cape Town popping right now, right? And I'm like, maybe if I stayed, I would actually be doing more, but then I wouldn't be making as much money as I'm making.
But also, I feel like you moved at the right time because at that time you were generating 60,000 downloads without even like proper marketing, like just on word of mouth. Yeah. So I feel like maybe you felt like you hit the ceiling. Yeah. So you needed like a bigger, so. And then COVID happened, and then
a lot of things happened. So. It felt like for me when I left Cape Town, it was like I'll always be an artist from Cape Town if I just choose to stay here, right? And I felt like the music that I was making, I didn't want to be good for a Cape Town guy. Like, yo, this is dope for a Cape Town guy. I wanted you to be able to listen to the music and be like, yo, this is just dope. Like, this is just really good. Like, for an artist, you know what I mean? I wanted the quality of music to be matched with, like, the international guys, you know what I mean? And I felt like in order to do that, I'd really need to get comfortable with just being uncomfortable, you know? And I had to learn to push myself, and that's what really brought me here.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of a lot of things changing, you moved to Joburg, you moved to Midrand, and you stayed with your sister for a while. Because, I mean, we know, you know what I'm saying? You need that stability in your life. Yeah. And you also moved with your girl, your influencer girl. Jesus Christ. It's uncensored. Oh, my God. Yo, you should have told me I have to. Cut the cameras. I'm joking. And you moved, like, with your influencer. Because also, those are the kind of stories that help artists grow creatively as well. Are you still with the girl that you moved from Cape Town with?
No.
What happened?
Unfortunately. I think it was just man, I'm gonna try and give you like the summarized story, right? With also not trying to paint anybody bad. But I think initially I was meant to move to Joburg and she was meant to move 6 months after me.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then she moved 2 weeks after me instead of 6 months after me. So then I had to replan and restructure a 6-month plan into a 2-week plan, which is damn near impossible. But you know, when you in
takes
a
lot.
relationship, you're like, yo, I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna figure it out and make a way. And then it didn't work out, right? Because we got here and we realized we don't want the same things. Right? I still have a great deal of respect for her for willing to move here
with you.
Yeah, to try and make the relationship work. Like, I still have respect for that. But at the end of the day, for me, it was like, yo, we really don't want the same things, right? And what I also realized when I got here is that there's this journey that I gotta take, and I can't. There's too many sacrifices and compromise that I'm gonna make, and I don't want to be thinking about the next person, which is why I don't have a kid. I'm not even thinking about a kid. You know what I mean? My life was like, yo, if I fall, it's on me. I don't want to think about
You gotta sort yourself out first. You gotta find your feet first and your ground first.
Exactly.
Which is perfectly understandable.
Exactly. So I was like, yo, that's the best thing for I think for me and for her, the person I was with at the time. I was like, yo, I just think it's easier for me to count on myself so that I know.
And you figure it out.
If there's no electricity, that's for me. You know what I mean? But if this person wants to watch Netflix, now I'm like, hey. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck.
You know that might be Netflix.
Money. You know what I'm saying? You know that I'm in a plan. You know what I'm like, damn.
It's a lot of pressure, and one thing I like there is the fact that you can say it with your chest, because a lot of niggas like fronting and they're like, no, I'll sort it out. No, I got it. But like, it shows that you're also very human. And speaking of being human, it takes me to Dreamer and Believer. Those are the projects that you first dropped, you know, in your early careers. So, looking back at Dreamer and Believer, how have you grown into who you are right now?
Dude, I feel like even my voice changed. Like my voice, my voice now. If you were to play that shit, I'd be like, oh God, cut the cameras. But then I think I was figuring it out, but I was like, I'm willing to figure it out in it. You know what I mean? As long as I'm in here, I'm gonna figure it out as I go. Right, so that guy was more just like, I like this music thing. I think I want to do it, but there's so many other challenges that I'm going through that I don't know. That I'm growing up. I'm figuring out who I am, and that was a bit of a challenge. And then I think as I grew from, and I was even like in a music group at some stage when starting out, right? And when I was working on the Dream, I was in that music group called I Am. And then I got out of that, right? The group like split up.
And you were alone.
Then it's like, okay, cool. So now what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? And then I focused on the music. I think that's like, I know that this thing is like, even when I make the music, it's I'm a vessel for it, man. Like, I know that it's whatever story I'm supposed to tell, it's bigger than
than
me.
you.
Yeah. And I realized that from the dreamer to the believer, from that early stage, it was always, everything was always from a third point of view. It was like the dreamer was a third, looking at myself from a third point of view, the believer looking at myself from a third point of view. You know what I mean?
I like that because you first dropped Dreamer, and then
Yeah.
in the same year you dropped Believer as well, you know, as like a follow-up project. And it's big because a lot of artists would rather start with singles, but you did it the other way around. You dropped your albums first and then stopped releasing albums and then started with singles. So why did you decide that you want to switch up the way that you drop music?
I think I'm super project based.
Okay.
Like I'm super
you're
project
like
based.
you want a full body of work.
Yeah. And I want people to always get the full picture, right? I'm a Gemini, right? So I'm super emotional.
Okay.
Right. Let's get that like out the way. That's everything I feel I write.
You have
right.
to say it.
So like that's why I was like, okay, if I'm not just making music, I'm also a writer. So I'll write for other people because I have all this. I always wanna like get my message and my thoughts out, right? So when I was transitioning from making bodies of work to making singles, it's kind of like I kind of saw how the people receive music in South Africa, right? I saw how mainstream artists were also putting out music. Like I would see like AKA, for example, he would take 2 years. You know, he'd give you like 3 singles over like a year and a half, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Man, that dude's lazy, right? That's what I thought at first.
That's what you thought until
I was
you
like,
understood.
Oh, this dude's lazy. Like, why?
Until
but then I started to understand like hip hop is very new, right, in South Africa. So like people are still, it's still building, it's still growing.
People are still trying to understand it
what
and
it is.
Okay.
Exactly. So it was like, yo, you can't just give people who don't even know you just full bodies of work. You gotta introduce people to, and also respect people's time, respect people's ear. You know, I was making the music at the time, it was just about me. Dude, I was like, yo, dude, this is how I feel. This is what I want to get out. But
also you need those people.
You know what I mean?
You need those people and their ears.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking like, yo, like how, like now I'm probably, the project I'm working on, I think is like my best work. And I think it's like, I know for sure I'm definitely winning at least one award. I'm dead ass. Like, I'm dead ass.
Listen.
Man. I'm dead ass.
Yes.
But I learned, right? I was like, yo, I gotta understand that number one, there's hip hop isn't even the priority right now. There's Amapiano, there's Gom, there's you know, so hip hop is like that third cousin, right? And if you're that third cousin, you can't come in just flooding with. You gotta ease people into it.
You gotta finesse them.
Yeah, you gotta finesse people. I gotta earn their ear, then earn their heart. Like that's how I honestly see it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of earning people's hearts, you've earned 60,000 downloads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was just solely on word of mouth.
Yeah.
Would you say now that word of mouth is still one of the ways in which you want to be known about or heard of, or have you taken kind of the leap into also marketing, putting finances into getting your work, your name, your brand out there as well?
Man, it's tricky, right? Because I don't think I'm a very social person. I know it's weird, right? Like
why are you lying?
Like this, right?
Why are you lying?
Nah, for real though. Like because I'm comfortable with you,
okay.
right? I'm super comfortable with you. If I don't know you, right? Like if you left me in the room with these dudes, right? I would like not say shit. I'm dead ass. Like I'm to myself, right?
Okay.
And I feel like because there's no rules to the social media thing, right? You never know when you've gone too far. You never know when you're gonna say the wrong thing. So, and I'm because I respect and I love this thing so much.
You want to read the room.
Yeah, I always want to read the room and be like, okay, cool. Are you allowed to say this? Or you're not allowed to say this? When that social media can take something so small
and
right?
blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, because it's context, right? I was reading this article yesterday or sometime, right, where it was speaking where Jackie Chan was talking about he's not willing to give his son
The 370 million.
Yeah,
Let's send it to charity.
And like people were like, yo, that's fine. Like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, why would
But the context.
right? But then when I looked at like other interviews, so I looked at his other interviews and he was explaining like, yo, I think my son is like lazy. I think my son is not hardworking. And I think and and was basically painting the character of who his son is. But some people just took that headline that said,
and it's like he's a bad dad, but he's trying to push his son into being independent.
Exactly.
Okay,
so also social media, the way social media is set up, the way that algorithm of Twitter is set up, you can't tell the full story in 240 characters. It's built like that so that
even with threads,
they
will always look for those small little things.
Exactly. Okay. So now I know that like, yo, that's a setup. Like that's like
that's
they
a
just
setup.
want me to say this and then I'm gonna get got, right? So rather let me not, right, and rather put it in the music, because then in the music you choosing to listen, so then I can give you the full
context.
story.
Okay,
I can give you the
it.
context. So in terms of now social media, it's so hard because I'm not the biggest social media person, right? I mean, the followers are there and whatever, right? But I still want to be able to create that relationship between myself and the people that listen to my music, to be like, yo, dude, like,
you're the type of
I'm
person.
I'm not gonna break up with the girl that I'm with now so that I can drop a song. You know what I mean? Like, I like, dude, like, let me just put out the music and you know that, like, I've put my heart and soul into this. So we don't need the theatrics.
They need to love you for who you are and what you write, not for the drama around the culture that you're in.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Speaking of the culture that you're in, you've performed at dude, you have a very longest list of stages you've been on.
Yeah,
my goodness, when I was reading, I'm like, I'm not even gonna pick one here. I just need you to tell me which is your most memorable or greatest stage that you've been on, where even when you're like 60 and 70, you're like, how you see that one?
Yeah. That's
that
like
that one.
It depends, right? But I think about 2019, where I had my own show, well, me and another guy that I made music with, we were vibes together. And that's the first time my mom was like out to watch.
Aww.
You know what I mean? That and the time my dad came to come watch me. Those were like, because I mean, you know how hard it is to explain to a black parent, dog.
And they came
that
out.
You a rapper. Like, Indoni? Like, a what, dog? Like, are you serious? Do you know what I mean? So, I was just, and you know when you're coming up, right? There's this, you don't perform like in these great places. You perform. I was performing Elokshid. I was
also the times.
And I perform. I'd get there. They'd be like, "Yo, you're performing at 10, right?" I'm like, "Okay, cool." At 10, I get there. Like, "Yo, as you can see, it's still filling up." Then you perform at 2 a.m., right? And you explain at home like, "Oh, this happened," and you borrowed the car, and so there was
like it's 2 a.m.
Exactly. So
I get it.
They were sitting thinking, "What the hell?
What are you doing?
You know what I mean? We put him in a good school." Do you know what I'm saying? So over time, like, I think the first time my mom really was like, "Oh shit, he's actually
good."
Yeah, was when I got a Hunter's deal, right? When I got my first big brand deal, right? And I was able to like be like, "Yo, mom, hold this." You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's me. That's all me. You know what I mean? I don't want it back.
No. There's the result. Yeah. She's reaping the reward.
That's when she was like, "Oh snap." Like now, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think also, I know it's a bit of a drift, right? But what I'm gonna say, but a lot of our parents move from a position of trauma, right? That's so they make true. Decisions based on trauma, right? And they're like, "Yo,
and their fears.
I'm so scared." You know what I mean? For this and this and this for me. So therefore, I'm scared for my daughter and my son to go through this.
I don't want you to go through the same thing, the same trauma.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't good for me.
Exactly. So I think their traumas would then bleed onto our dreams. Do you get what I'm saying? And they would start thinking, "Yo, this and this and this and this and this and this and this."
I hope you mental notes.
Yeah, you gotta send me the footage. So I think because of them being in that space and thinking about the trauma, they were always worried like the moves that we make and the decisions that we make. It's only until they start seeing and it's unfortunate, but it's a reality that okay, well, there's monetary value in what this kid is doing. Okay, he's safe.
Also, a lot of the entertainment energy was very negative back in the day. It was all about the drugs, the sex, the suicidal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very understandable for parents to be so overprotective over their children.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Would you let if you had a kid, right? That's like 18, 19 now, right? And like they just matriculated and they like, I want to be an influencer. What would you say?
I'd let them.
Would you?
I would.
Really?
I would.
Wow.
But in the
I'm
sense of
interested.
this is me supposed to be interviewing you, like, and then we're gonna go into that. I feel like I would, because for me, my parents understood from a very young age that I am into presenting and emceeing and whatever. Okay. Even though they gave me an ultimatum of, okay, so you can still do this, but go to school, get your degree. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it would be a similar thing where I'm like, okay, I see you, go for it, like full force. Like I'll even drop you off at whatever events and all these things. But I need you to also be protected. So you need to have both plan A's on this side and that side.
So get the education, but go after the goal.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Now, reason why I'm asking that is because I was thinking about, like, I was on Facebook, right? An app I'm really on. I don't think anybody's on there anymore. But I was on Facebook.
The old people are on there.
Yeah. I was on Facebook, and I saw this picture, right, which is a very common picture. It's like someone who's standing on the robot, and they're like, yo, engineering graduate looking for employment or whatever, right? And I'm like, damn, like you become numb to that. You're like, yes, dude.
Because also it's like, what's the point if you're gonna be at the robot with the board saying?
You know what I'm saying? So now think of it as a kid who's like in grade 10, right? Who's like, they go on Facebook, really, but they'll go on Facebook and they see
that they discouraged,
right? And then they're gonna go on IG, right? And then the same person with no graduate
is like
and
blowing
racking it, right? And it's like, then you still expect that same kid to be like, yo, I'm gonna go to school. Like, I feel like that disconnect is crazy.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, as a parent, I feel like you need to build children who are able to empathize and see visions in different lanes. Because once they can see visions in different lanes, they can know that, listen, there's multiple streams of income. I don't have to earn one income. And I think the idea behind going to school is have one, stream of income. Whereas we're the generation where we're like, listen, if I can bag a degree, if I can be on TV and still have my music play on radio like you, it's like there's multiple streams of income, so you don't have to really pick one. You can pick everything.
That's true.
Speaking of picking everything, you were 2020's Old Mutual Masterclass presenter on BET. Tell me, how did that come about?
Man, that was okay. So 2019, the guy that I'd worked on the Hunters campaign with, right? Ironically, I'm gonna go back to the story, but ironically, that guy was so fascinated with that's how I got the Hunters. We're doing an interview, right? And the guy was like, and then in the interview, I said, that's the first time I said, I feel like I'm too black for white people and too white for black people. And he was like, oh shit. Oh, Brand's gonna love that. Oh my God. Like, and then I became the Hunters guy through that. So that guy, when I got to Joburg, because I have no resources, I was very unprepared. I was very unprepared when I got here, right? And then he hits me up ironically, and he's like, yo, dude, like, I just actually remember that because we spoke about him building this thing in 2016. We spoke about him like, yo, he's like, I want to build this thing where it's like a creative space for artists, like musicians, producers, people that are in fashion, content creators. And I was like, yo, that's mad Caucasian of you, my nigga.
Sign me up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where you think you're going to get money like that? But he did it, right? Like, he did it. This guy called John Savage. And he built the Amp Studio space. And then he hit me up to say, yo,
pull up.
Come up to the launch and whatever. We're going to have an A-lister coming in, talking, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. I got there. I'm like, oh.
Mama, I made it.
Sign me up, dog. I'm like, sign me up, right? And I'm very much an opportunist type of person. So as soon as I see something, I'm always looking at ways to make it better, right? So as soon as I saw the masterclass, I was like, yo, John, right, I've never done like emceeing before, but like you guys don't have a host, right? So let's give it a shot. And I have time, right? I have time. And it was like, okay, cool, let's give it a shot. I was making like, I was making like 3K. Like,
I mean,
2,
for someone who
3K,
didn't have
who
income,
didn't
that
have-
was
but
something.
bear in mind, I have rent.
Oh, shit.
That's like 6.5, right?
So you weren't really
I'm
even...
looking at this like, damn, how am I gonna make this work? But I'm like, yo, it's gonna lead to something. I know that if I just
And it's something,
if I
at
just
least.
hang in long enough, it's gonna lead to something. So we did that. We did the master, and then the more. So now he's saying like, okay, cool, because you're the host, you're gonna need to know information about da 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 da. So now I'm reading about like financial literacy in the creative space, and I'm reading and I'm not realizing like, yo, I'm like smartening up on the business side of things now, right? And I'm understanding contracts more. I'm understanding because if I'm gonna sit down with a host, I gotta know what I'm talking about. So I'm reading up on distribution. I'm reading up on record labels. I'm reading up now. I'm smartening
You're now becoming one of the masters in the classes.
I'm smartening up, right? And then John was really happy with how I hosted the thing. Lockdown happened. Right? It was like, oh shit, okay, cool. Now I'm not employed anymore. But then I moved to my sister's place, right? And then John was like, yo, now we're not working at Amp. So he's like, yo, let's package this and then sell it to MTV Base. I was like, yo, that sounds,
dope.
that sounds cool. He did it and he was like, yo, you're gonna be the host. I'm like,
Ooh, okay.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then he packages it, he sells it, and then like months go by, and I'm like, I knew it wasn't gonna happen, bro, because I understand that from a business level, also MTV based Viacom is gonna want their own people in there. You know what I mean? Why give this bag to this kid we don't know? He's not even from Joburg. You know what I mean? And I'd forgotten about it, right? I moved back to Cape Town. Actually, I left Joburg.
Really?
I left last year. As soon as Cupcake opened, I was like, I'm out, bro. Fuck this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out and I'm staying with my sister, right? My sister's married, so it's in another family.
Like
technically.
dynamics.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have money to contribute to nada here. So I'm like, yo, let me go home, bro. Let me be my mom's kid. It is what it is, and let me rebuild. And then while I was at home, I got a call from Cooley, right? Cooley China had gotten me a record label offer, right? And he was like, yo, come back to Joburg. I got this record label offer for you. And I was like, yo, thing is, where I'm looking right, I don't, at that point, I was contemplating like saying, fuck the music. I was like, yo, I gotta find another way.
You need to make,
right?
you need to have a sense
I
of
need
income.
money, yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna see, right?
What gives?
Yeah, and then this guy from Cape Town, chzsing, who's like a mentor of mine.
The one on Metro.
Yeah. So chzsing, like he's a mad mentor of mine, right? So I told him like, yo, actually, Cooley called me and he was like, yo, but like, yo, bro, I'm not even trying to, cause I'm trying to like, I'm actually trying to do other stuff now, right? And put the music about on pause and make some money. chzsing was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna send you 2K, fly to Joburg, have
that's
that
mad
meeting,
love, hey?
have that meeting and figure it out.
That's
know what I'm saying?
mad love.
But get up, like.
Because also, I feel like the moment you wallow in like
that sadness,
dog, it's a deep hole to get out of, and to have people kind of be like, "Hey, yo, dog, get the fuck up, like get the fuck up."
So he was like, "Bro, like here, the money, go to Joburg, bro. Go back.
You don't have a reason not to go.
Go back. Yeah.
Then you came back.
Then I got here. I had the meeting with the label. I signed the NDA, so I can't say the label's name.
Yeah,
so
no, but
yeah. So we sat down, I looked at the deal, I was like, okay, cool. Because I was not in a position to negotiate from leverage, right? And I think that's mad important for artists.
Did you sign?
Yeah, I didn't sign. Because I was like, I'm not in a position of leverage. So give me a month, give me 6 months, let me drop something.
And then we'll discuss again.
Conversation.
Okay.
And I think just on the topic of that, I think it's so important to have leverage when you negotiating because then you can strengthen your deal. Right.
The master classes did you good?
Yeah, they did.
They did you good.
They did. So I didn't sign the deal and I was like, damn, now I'm back here. Now I'm saying, now my sister's like,
what you doing?
Okay. And then I'm like, yo, listen, I'm actually gonna go back to Cape Town, right? And like the end of the week, I just came here to have this meeting or whatever,
okay.
right? I got to Joburg the Tuesday, right? I had the meeting the Wednesday. My flight was on Friday. Thursday night, John calls me.
Ayo.
He's like, yo, Slim, where you? I'm like, I'm at home, bro. What's up? You know, I'm unemployed, so I'm at home. He's like, yo, MTV Base signed off on the deal. We're shooting tomorrow morning. I was like, what?
The universe is crazy, ne?
The day before I'm supposed to go home. Dead ass. And then he's like, yo, we're shooting. Bring as many outfits as you can. We don't have any episodes, we're shooting. And then next morning, woke up.
And it was a wrap.
And then I was like, yo, I was there. There was the head of Viacom there. MTV Base people were there. BT people were there. All mutual people were there, right? And I'm freaking fuck up.
Why? Because you got this in the... But I get the nerves, though.
You know what I'm saying?
I get the nerves, though,
You know what I'm saying? They talking about like, yo, the viewership is like 2-3 million something. I'm looking at like, yo, like, I'm presenting for the first time and it's for like this many people. Oh, man. Right? I'm like, yo, John, I just need to think about this, whatever. He's like, yo, this is how much the bag is. I said, yo,
sign me up.
I'm gonna figure the rest out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna figure the rest
out. As long as
out.
you secure the bag.
Yeah, and then
dope.
and then that's how basically the presenting thing started. Like,
and I love how the music literally, because you were here initially to sign the deal, and then the universe is just like, but we get that you love the music, but also you know kind of Okay, wait.
And I think Joburg does that really well. Like, it teaches you just expand.
Before I let you go, I'm gonna play a game with you, right? So you need to pick. Okay. You need to pick one or the other. Yeah. You cannot pick two or not pick one. That's the rule. People like cheating. So, okay. Dreamer or believer?
Dreamer.
Head honcho or Mother City Festival?
Boo. Head honcho.
Okay. YFM or Bush Radio?
YFM.
KO or Cooley?
Cooley.
Where can people follow you, book you, sign you up?
Oh man, all social platforms. It's BlaQ_Slim, BLAQ_SLIM. I gotta say it again. Is it gonna be written? Do I be like, yo, what's something made me do with the presenting shit? I'm pointing at shit that's not there.
You're such a clown.
Man, it's BLAQ.
No, like, right? No, you ain't gotta do that.
But yeah, man, that's on all social platforms, man. That's on all social platforms.
And then booking is your email?
Bookings info blackslim@gmail.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for pulling through.
Thank you so much, man. This was really dope.
I really enjoyed our chat. And that is a wrap, my people. The Republic of Hip Hop is officially signing out. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at The Drop Uncensored, and like, comment, subscribe. Tell your people to tell their people to subscribe to The Drop Hip Hop Uncensored. You know we bring you the best hip hop stars in the game, new wave style. So if you got somebody that you know who is an amazing rising star, or who you know music is actually fucks up the roof, email us at thedropuncensored@gmail.com. From my heart to yours, it is all love. Because I'm twice as nice, the stronger version of Jin. But for now, signing out. You're such a hype guy. You gotta be a rapper. Like, for real. Like, I will write. I used to rap. I used to rap.
Makes sense, but I can see you got the you know what I'm saying?
Got the bars, honey. Listen, I'm not in prison though, but
you should.
She thinking I'm George. Got her own man, got her notch. Riding in a polo. 180 in a photo speed cameras.